What can I do for you?
Say, Oleg, I noticed how cheap your vodka is these days.
Indeed, cheapest in town. I managed to secure a good deal with the distributor. I reckon it will bring a lot of customers.
So I gathered. Brilliant, just brilliant. But just to play devil's advocate here for a brief moment. If your prices are even lower than at the vodka bar, don't you think people will assume it's low quality? Or even worse, counterfeit?
I've not considered that.
I'm sure it's silly. You're the businessman here. If you didn't think about it, it must be fine.
Come to think of it, you may be right here. You know what? Just to be safe, I'm going to raise the price a little bit. Just enough so that it's slightly higher than at that horrid bar.
I think that's a wonderful idea. You're not going to regret it.
Oh, thank you, young lady. Always good to hear customers' thoughts.
Good evening. Excuse me.
Evening, my lady.
I saw this recently and just had to get it for you.
What, for me? No, I can't
Oh, you must, Trophime. Besides, I have no use for it myself.
Thank you so much, my lady. I will treasure this always.
Oh, go away, you.
It's a copy of Evgeny's new book. He finally finished it. He wrote something on the front page. There's a poem here that's dedicated to me. Petya, are you awake? I've brought you something.
Oh? These are just lovely. How did you know?
You're not the only one with an eye for such things.
I cannot overstate my gratitude, Lisa. Let's see. If I hold the needle like this, perhaps? At least I can't stab myself anymore.
Shall I leave you to it?
Oh, yes, sorry, I got carried away. It's strange. For the first time since that night, I feel alive, almost. Thank you, Lisa. I truly appreciate it.
What?
No, it is nothing. I'm sure you have other business to attend to.
I'll leave you to it then. Didn't expect to find you here.
I'm a guest. I've come to an agreement with our friendly proprietress. Everyone's a winner. In my capacity as a servant of the Count's house, I'm acting as security. In addition, Mademoiselle Elisa pays me some decent coin to make sure nothing interferes with its operation.
Including the Countess?
See, you get it. Elisa's more like her father than I gave her credit for. Still nothing on the contract front, before you ask.
No, me neither. But I'm not giving up. There must be some way.
Your youthful vigor is charming, Lisa, really.
One must believe in the possibility of happiness in order to be happy.
Tolstoy, eh? Quite a character, that one. Total hypocrite, if you ask me. But he does portray battle well. Chaotic, terrible, and pointless. It's all well and good to say such things, but living it is another matter entirely.
Slacking off again, Hussar?
This young lady looked like trouble.
Oh, really now?
You can't expect me to stand around all day.
That is precisely what I expect from you. That's beside the point. I did want to speak to the both of you, so this is convenient. It's regarding the matter of your contract, actually.
Oh? You have my attention.
I went looking through Father's files. He kept records of every contract he ever made. The bad news is that the only means of breaking it will be to fulfill its condition. The good news is that any member of the family is sufficient for such purposes. That removes at least one complication.
So then, we need you to interfere in true matters of the heart.
Before either of you ask, no, I'm not seeing anyone. And I imagine the word true means it must take some real, unforced feeling.
Ah, drat.
True matters of the heart. Is there some other way? It's too crazy as is, but I wonder.
So, what's this crazy idea of yours?
It's not fully formed. However, first off, how much do either of you know about vampire biology?
Well, we are dead, essentially.
But we're also capable of dying, yes?
Harder to kill, except in certain circumstances. Sunlight, obviously. But we're not death-proof.
But we can survive injuries that would kill a human.
I suddenly do not like where this conversation is going.
Speak for yourself.
Listen, the contract was clearly made meaning true matters of the heart, in the metaphorical sense, right? But what if we were to interpret it literally?
I'm not following.
Your heart, in your chest. What if we somehow interfered with it?
Excuse me?
I don't exactly know how just yet, but if we were to approach this scientifically, Elisa doing something to your heart could be interpreted as interfering with its physical substance.
When you put it like that, it almost makes sense. Still, putting my life on the line for a theory is a little...
Oh, hush. I've seen plenty of vampires take strikes to the chest and live.
So what? You're just going to cut me open and poke around?
Well, yes, that's my initial idea. Although, of course, that will take careful planning and some time to consider all the surgical complications. And I can't guarantee that it'll even work.
Seems a good enough idea to me.
Well, you're not the one going under the knife.
So spineless.
All right, I'll consider it as an option. I mean, what's eternal life if I'm stuck 1 minute longer chasing brats like this one around?
Ingrate.
All right, then. In the meantime, there's a lot to do. I'll need to prepare my tools, consult the doctor, find a space to use as the operating theater.
Ugh, enough. All this talking and planning is insufferable. Let's just get this done already.
Wait, what do you think you're doing?
Oh, you'll be fine. It's not like I stabbed you with a wooden stake or anything.
Hold on, Hussar. Let me take a look. How? It doesn't actually look all that bad. Hussar, do you hear me?
I hear you. All right, it hurts like hell. But yeah, I think I'm relatively okay, all things considered.
Told you. Now, if I had shoved it into your brain or something else you actually need...
Quiet, Elisa. Just go fetch me some vodka, thread, and a clean needle and set it nearby.
Fine.
Hussar, I'm now going to fix you up to help you heal more quickly. Medically, I don't really know if this blood is yours or what you fed upon, but with the added pressure, it seems like you've barely lost any.
Thanks for the warning.
I know it must burn terribly, but I promise, you don't want an infection. At least there's plenty of vodka in a bar to disinfect with. Sorry. I'm almost done, promise. There. Not the best of medical conditions, but I think that should help with your recovery. Although, if I'm honest, I think you would have managed to pull through even without my intervention. I can barely believe it.
Vampire healing abilities for you. Not that I wanted to test them out today. Ugh. Ooh.
Don't move too much. You'll rip your stitches.
My stitches? Damn, that's right.
Your mark.
Did it,
See for yourself.
It's gone. It's really gone.
Congratulations.
I can't believe it. I'm free. What can I even say to you, Doctor?
Thank you might be a start. Although, I'm technically not the one who did the actual deed.
As though thank you could be enough. But yes, thank you. 1,000 times thank you.
You owe me for the idea, you know.
Let a man recover first. As for you...
I really did know you'd be fine, truly. However, I was probably a bit too hasty.
Really? You think?
I'm sorry.
You? You, Elisa, the daughter of the head vampire family, apologize? I didn't know that was even possible. Have you even had to utter those words before?
I don't believe I have. And I certainly don't intend to ever again. So you should be very grateful indeed. Well, with that, I better get back to the manor. The Countess will definitely be wondering where I am by now. All's well that ends well, right?
Ah, the forever problematic adieu. Do get back before your mother tries to sick me on you again, since she will now be sorely disappointed.
So, what will you do now with your newfound freedom?
Not really sure just yet. Right now? Probably nothing. I need to get things in order, make a plan, and then... who knows? Come to think of it, Misha always wanted to see the ocean. Maybe that's what I'll do. Spend some time by the sea. Somewhere all the politics and nastiness can't find me. Doesn't sound too bad, does it?
Doesn't sound like you.
I'm just full of surprises. But for now, well, first I'd better start saving.
And before that, you need to recover, Hussar.
It's Stefan. You may now call me by my real name if you'd like.
Stefan.
And yes, Doctor, I'll rest here a bit longer. Although, I'm already feeling about ready to taste my newfound freedom in the skies. You go ahead.
Very well. Take care of yourself, Stefan. Wherever the sky leads you.
You too, Lisa.
Hello again.
The little bat returns. Hunting well?
You keep calling me that.
Am I wrong?
Well, no, but... How do you know what I am?
Your kind has a certain smell. Stagnant blood.
If my kind are bats, then what does that make you?
Names. Rusalka will define. Of what shall we speak then?
Did you attack Demian? On Kupala night, he went swimming in the lake. Those odd marks on his leg must have been from your nails.
A rabbit fool enough to run in an open field should expect the talons of a hawk.
In that case, you must have gone hungry that night.
Do not mistake me for your kind. I need not kill to survive.
So then, why?
Are you certain you wish to know?
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
What I want. Yes, perhaps. Listen well then, little bat. There was once a girl who loved a kind-faced young man from a wealthy family. Though they were yet to be wed, she would meet him as he bathed. So deeply entranced was she. Faithfully, she came to him each night, and he would take her across the lake where none would find them. Waiting for the day he would offer her his hand. And she waited, so faithfully, so meekly, till one day as they were on the water, she dared ask how much longer she would wait. And his kind face turned cold, and his sweet voice turned sharp. She begged him to forgive her, but he would not listen. The hand she had so longed to take now reached out and pushed her back. As she sank, her love dissolved along with her name until they both became one with the water.
So, when you attack young men...
The boy of whom I speak has yet to be fool enough to return to the water. But many have taken his place. Now listen closely, little bat. Though I am fettered, you yet fly free. Thus I charge you, bring me what I could not take, his life and his hand. Claim the former and bring me the latter, and you will be handsomely rewarded.
What kind of reward?
Impatient little bat, This a boon that will bring good fortune.
Do you remember anything I can use to find him? His height, hair color?
As my last act, I mark his hand as mine, as I'd so long to do. You shall know him from that. Here, may it strike true. I'll be waiting, little bat.
Marked his hand as mine. That's not terribly specific. I'll have to do some investigating. As for potential suspects, Tropheme certainly doesn't come from wealth, and I've seen the doctor's hands often enough to rule them both out. Best not approach any of the men in town until I know a bit more. Maybe Arbin will have some ideas. She's privy enough to the town's happenings. I should try speaking with her first.
Hi, lovely. What can I do for you?
Arbin, do you have a minute?
For you, lovely, always. What is it?
I'm investigating something that happened in this town some time ago. A murder.
Oh, goodness, how exciting. Though, this town does see more death than most.
This wasn't that kind of murder. It was a man drowning his lover in the lake.
The legend of the Rusalka, is it?
So you know about it?
Ha, not much. Supposedly, she preys on the young men who dare venture into the lake's murky depths. From time to time, men stumble in here sopping wet, demanding a drink and complaining that something in the lake scratched them up.
And they think it was a Rusalka.
Utterly convinced of it, even men not known for being superstitious. I can say that they aren't mistaken that creatures like that do exist, but that's all I know, I'm afraid. I try not to get too entangled with other supernatural beings. I already have enough on my plate just dealing with our own kind.
I see.
If you'd like to learn more, perhaps you should check the bookstore. I know the owner has a penchant for investigating local legends. I think I've seen some of his personal scribblings tucked away on the shelves.
That's not a bad idea, Arbin. Thanks for your help.
Anytime, my dear.
Lisa, a moment before you go.
What is it, Petya?
Behold!
What?
It's for you, to thank you for bringing me these supplies. Style is very important, you know. One must wear the right outfit for the occasion.
You didn't need to do this, you know.
Consider it payment for my continued board on your shelf.
You were the one who was kind to me in the first place, you know.
Well, then we'll simply have to continue being kind to each other.
Yes, I suppose we will. Hello, Doctor.
Huh? What?
Doctor, is this a good time?
For what, dear?
If it's all right, I'd like to hear what happened to your daughter after the higher society intervened. Did you ever get to see her again?
Very well. I suppose it's time to finish this story. You see, despite my orders, I found it impossible to keep away from Sophia. I knew that going against the higher society directly might put her in danger, so I kept an eye on her from the shadows and watched as she grew into a young lady. I even attended her wedding.
How did you manage that?
There may have been a particularly nosy bat in the registrar's rafters that day. She was so beautiful, so happy. I couldn't help but speak to her telepathically that evening and tell her how proud I was of her. She thought it was a sign of approval from the heavens, that I was sending a message to her from beyond the grave. In a sense, she wasn't wrong. Over the years, I followed her around while treating patients as a traveling doctor. I wanted so desperately to reach out and tell her that her papa was still here, that I'd kept watch over her all this time. All I desired was to touch her sweet face and kiss her forehead one more time.
You were a wonderful father to her.
I'm not so sure myself, but thank you, dear. It means a lot. She was my child, my only one.
Did you ever get to reunite?
In the last few years of her life, I'd set up a local practice, feeling rather certain that she would stay here in town. Her husband had died some years earlier, and her children had left to find their fortune. One night, someone knocked on my door, and there she was. I'd made a point of avoiding treating her in the past, lest she remembered me, but this visit took me by surprise.
And did she recognize you?
No, she barely recognized herself. In her old age, she had become feeble both mentally and physically. Her neighbors had found her wandering around in her nightdress, claiming to be tending the roses. They brought her to me to see if anything could be done. Realizing it was finally safe to do so, I took Sophia in and fitted out a room with a new bed and that vanity. My little girl was living under my roof once again, and I was determined to ensure she'd pass into the next world comfortably.
It must have been so difficult to see her like that.
Of course it was, but it was also a blessing that allowed me to spend her final moments together again. Over the next few years, I kept Sophia alive and well. I fed her, bathed her, clothed her, and comforted her at night when she awoke from a nightmare. I told her stories of Boris the Bat, a creature that followed a beautiful princess all its life and made sure she came to no harm. In this way, I was able to share what I'd done her whole life without admitting who and what I was. On her last night of life, I made sure to brush her hair with extra care and place a soft blanket over her when she was under the sheets. I stroked her face and kissed her forehead, and in that moment she looked at me and said, "Papa?" And then she slipped into her eternal slumber. I like to think she knew, at the very end, that her papa was still there, keeping her safe, that he never left her, and that he would always carry her in his stilled heart. And so, that is why I have a vanity in that room, Lisa. I couldn't bring myself to change it after she left. I hope you don't mind.
Of course not. I'm just happy you got to spend those final moments with your child. Thank you for sharing your story with me, Doctor. You don't know how much it means for me to hear it.
You deserved to know, dear. You know, I don't think I've told it to anyone in full like that before. And I must admit, it felt good to share it with someone.
I'm honored.
Now, if you don't mind, Lisa, I'd like to spend some time by myself. The older you get, the quicker one gets emotional, you see.
Of course. I'll see myself off. Have a good evening.
And you, dear.
It's from Stefan.
How nice of you to stop by, sweetheart. Stop by any time, sweetheart.
Let's see if I can find that book about local legends that Arbin mentioned. No need to bother anyone else. I'll just peruse the shelves on my own. This doesn't look useful. Nothing of interest here. What a dull book. A pamphlet on local legends, written by Roman himself. Could this be what Arbin was referring to? Let's see. Aha! There's a page on the Rusalka. Not too much new information here. However, it does mention that the incident started approximately 25 years ago. Perhaps Town Hall has a report on a missing young woman from around that time. I should speak to someone there.
Wonderful to see you again, Miss Morozova.
You too, Roman. Though I'm surprised you remember my name.
Do you think yourself so easily forgotten? Or I so forgetful?
Certainly not. It's just that you must see so many faces pass through here, far more interesting than my own.
I would be so lucky to see a face such as yours once in a lifetime. Besides, you overestimate our little town's hunger for books.
Well, the townsfolk don't know what they're missing.
And what of your appetite?
Pardon?
Have you devoured the book I gave you?
Oh, of course. Yes, I have finished it.
Superb. I am beyond thrilled. What did you make of it?
It was simply amazing. Exhilarating. Never have I read of such a powerful woman.
I feared I'd scared you away with this tale of supernatural beasts and unspeakable acts, but it seems you found a kindred spirit.
Oh, on the contrary, I find such monstrous imagery serves to cast a mirror on our own humanity.
What insight! It sits beside the monk as my favourite doomed romance.
Perhaps horror and romance are two sides of the same coin.
At least in the hands of poets.
Dark eyes, how I love you, how I fear you.
A fitting song, and one of my favourites. I do so appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts with me. It's such a welcome change to share conversation with a curious and intelligent mind.
Likewise. And if I ever tire of daily life in this town, at least I won't be short of tales in your bookshop.
The town? It may have more to offer than the surface would suggest.
Well, it has you. I hadn't expected to find such intelligence and warmth here.
Stop, you'll make me blush at this rate. Besides, the town is now graced with your presence. You know, I would be honoured to provide a tour and share some local folklore.
What a kind offer. Thank you, Roman. Though, I fear my days are somewhat packed.
How about your evenings?
I may be able to manage. A tour does sound like an ideal way to better learn about the town.
Splendid! Then consider me your chaperone. I'll be ready when you are. See you soon.
Elisa, fancy seeing you here. What are you reading?
The Crimes of Bluebeard. Familiar?
He was an occult madman, and a serial killer at that.
Indeed. Although I'm having difficulty distinguishing between legend and truth. If he truly did dance with demons, he did a poor job documenting it. Foolish. So much knowledge lost to the shadows.
You'll just have to find it.
Obviously. Enough of this. I require a change of scenery. Accompany me, will you? Wait, I have an idea. Race you to the dock.
I don't suppose I have much choice.
None. On your mark, get set, go! I must be out of practice. Quiet out here tonight. As usual.
It's pretty, don't you think?
Oh, very. So dark and inviting. Not that I'd recommend taking a dip.
Certainly not after Kupala's night.
There's an old spirit in this lake. Old and cold and hungry.
You mean the Rusalka?
Oh, you're familiar?
We've met. On the island, as it happens.
I've seen her once or twice. I've never actually approached, though. Even to me, drowning seems like a particularly unpleasant way to go. So, do try to avoid upsetting her,
I'll bear it in mind. It seems the what would you call it? Underworld is more expansive than I thought. Vampires, ghosts, rusalkas.
Underworld. Fitting enough. Although, a little drab, don't you think? Doesn't really capture the romance of it.
I'm not sure I'd call it romantic. We are dead, after all.
Death can be romantic. I must introduce you to Shelley.
Considering my profession, I'm not all that fond of it.
No? I would have thought you might have gained an appreciation for it. Unlife, at least, if not death itself. Or are you dedicated to keeping one foot out of the grave?
Isn't that normal? I mean, maybe I'll change my mind someday. But, I mean, I had so much I wanted to do.
There are things you can do now that you couldn't, you know.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Certain tolerances, so to speak, that are harder to come by in the light. Certain indulgences that can thrive in shadow. I could show you, if you're interested.
I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe another time, If all goes to plan, at least.
What's that supposed to mean?
It's about my plan, the sunrise and all that. Tell me honestly, do you think me foolish?
I don't. I mean, betting your life on it is a lot, but still. It clearly is important to you.
Do you say that just to placate me?
No, it's true. You stick to your convictions. Even if I disagreed, you'd still do it, wouldn't you?
I'm glad you understand. It's going to be soon. I have almost everything I need.
Have you tested it?
Well, no.
Elisa, I can't stop you, can I?
Of course not. I was sincere about wanting to hear your thoughts. But no, I intend to go through with this. It's far too late to stop.
What gave you this idea anyway?
I wonder. I never had much reason to see the sunrise when I was alive. Who wants to get up that early? But once it was taken away from me, I realized how little I'd appreciated it. Any of it. Ugh, listen to me.
I'm listening.
You... Fine. But you mustn't tell a soul. Understood?
Of course.
How old are you, Lisa?
Huh? I'm 22. Or rather, I suppose I was. Why?
I thought so. You're older than I am. Physically, that is. And a doctor, besides. There were no women doctors when I was a girl. I'm lucky I even learned to read. A good husband wants a wife who can keep a decent conversation, you know? The Countess told me if I came to live with her, I would need no husband. I could even help with her business. She was everything I wanted to be. Intelligent, independent, strong. And in turn, I was young and pretty. Perfect for foistering all her insecurities and hopes on. I was too naive. I didn't even consider what I was giving up. Too late now, of course.
Elisa.
It's not like I even saw the sun that much as a girl. Always inside, sewing and playing piano and running around after little lady what's-her-name. If I saw the sunrise, it was because I was getting up early for someone else. I want to lie in the sun with no one to answer to. For once, to have it all to myself. Not someone's lady-in-waiting or substitute daughter. Just Me. Is that selfish?
I don't think so.
Even if it was, I don't care.
What? What is it?
Just me. I wonder. I'm going back to the manor. There's something I need to check.
What?
Thank you for the chat.
And there she goes.
Apologies. Good evening. How may I help you?
Hi. I'd like to request a list of missing persons from the time period around 25 years ago.
May I ask what might be the reason for such a request?
I'm assisting Dr. Volkov in archiving the medical records of the previous town doctor. However, it appears that one file, that of a young female, is missing a name.
Huh. Peculiar.
And the only clue is a note at the end that seems to imply that she may have gone missing around that time. Might you have a report of something like that in your archives?
I can certainly check for you. That long ago would now be in the public record. And while disappearances sadly tend to be more frequent nowadays, I can't imagine there were too many reports 25 years ago. We used to be a quiet, sleepy town. Just give me one moment, please.
Of course.
Some good news. I did manage to find one report that matched your description. However, I doubt it's the young woman you're looking for.
What makes you think that?
Well, the report came from her mother, a serf. It's highly unlikely her daughter would have had a proper medical file. They certainly wouldn't have been able to afford such a thing.
I see. Was there anything else of note?
Not really. Her life as a serf in town certainly wouldn't have been ideal, so it seems the police believed she simply ran off. The case was immediately closed.
How unfortunate.
The name noted at the end of the report was... Uliana.
Uliana.
Well, apologies that I couldn't be of more help for your archiving project.
Thank you for your help anyway.
My pleasure.
Marusa?
Lisa, it's good to see you again.
Is that the shooting party? Are you a fan of Chekhov?
Didn't expect you to know anything about literature.
Glad to surprise you.
I've studied some of his plays, but reading plays isn't the same as watching them. It made me a bit sad. So I thought I'd read some of his fiction instead.
Isn't the shooting party a little, crass?
Why? Because it's about murder? I may as well find horrors within the pages, rather than out on the streets. At least this is fiction.
I suppose you have a point. It's quite late. I'm surprised you're here at this hour by yourself.
Don't have much choice if I want to continue my studies. And I have permission to read off the shelves.
So you like to read?
As much as I can and as often as I can. Which isn't very much with all the work in the fields.
I've always loved reading, even as a child. When I wasn't studying, I read whatever I could pick up. I found that books could transport me to a different world, or a different time, and for a brief moment, I wasn't Lisa. I was a princess or hero or a dashing pirate.
So you get it. Reading is almost a magical force. However, at the moment, I'm reading less fiction. With the hours I have, there's little time for escapism.
So, other than Chekhov, what are you reading?
I'm trying to read more politics and social commentaries. It feels like the world is already on a huge course of change, and if I don't prepare, I might blink and be left even further behind.
I see.
In order to survive a harsh winter, you must stock up on your provisions. It feels like it's the same with your mind.
That's very astute.
Is it? It just seems like common sense to me.
You may be surprised how many people don't have that quality. For someone so young, you certainly seem to know what you want.
Working the land is honorable. I don't look down on it. And with more progress, maybe one day my community will get to benefit from their labor the way they should. But in the meantime, what about people like me? People who want something different? Why must it be so difficult to dream of something else, to live the stories, not simply read them in books forever? And I'm lucky to even be able to do that much. Is that the time already? It's later than I thought.
Is something wrong?
I just need to get home. We have to be up before dawn tomorrow to tend the fields. I'm planning on picking some mushrooms one of these evenings. Would you care to join me?
Why me?
It's a chore I can complete quicker with an extra pair of hands. And you're a woman who's managed to achieve her dream. I'd like to know more about how you did it.
You pick mushrooms at night?
Best time to do it, really, before anyone else wakes up.
Huh. I didn't think about it that way.
Besides, there's something beautiful about the forest at night. But I must go now. Till next time.
Such a headstrong girl. Maybe I could buy her a gift for the next time I see her.
Hello, mademoiselle.
May I see what you have in stock?
Certainly.
Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine.
Lisa, I was just thinking about you. I'll see you soon.
How can I help you, my dear? Enjoy.
To what do I owe the pleasure, Miss Morozova?
Kirill.
What is it?
Oh, did you hurt your hands?
Eh?
I don't see any sort of mark. Does that mean it wasn't him? Sorry, I must have been seeing things.
Are you buying something or not?
Maybe I'm on the wrong track. Well, I've still got Oleg to check. What should I work on today? I think I have enough to start the experiments. Let's run some blood tests. Fascinating. I think Dr. Volkov will be pleased with the results. A handwritten note. Who could this be from? She must be talking about the ritual. I should go and see her.
What can I do for you?
Oleg.
How can I help you, miss?
Hey, Oleg. Do you mind if I take a quick look at your hand?
Pardon?
Did you happen to hurt it? Just doctor's curiosity in me.
Oh, this? I had a run-in with a tomcat in my youth. Don't worry, it's quite healed.
That scar. It has the same strange texture as the marks on Demyon's leg.
Is everything all right, miss?
Was it really a cat that gave that cut to you?
What? What reason would I have to lie?
I think we both know the answer to that.
No,
I have to know, Oleg. What happened that night on the lake?
Could we talk in the back room? Please. I'll answer your questions, just not here.
Fine.
How do you even know about her? Doesn't matter. I knew one day someone would come to me with this. What do you want from me?
Your confession.
Look, I didn't... I'll just tell you what happened, all right? I don't know what you've heard, or how, but this is what happened. Ulyana and I had been fooling around. We were young. You must know how it is. It wasn't serious.
Really? Sounded serious enough to me.
That's not what I meant. Ulyana, she was lovely, but her family... You know.
What? Poor?
To say the least. My family would have never allowed me to marry her. I'd known that from the beginning. She must have not. I didn't realize how much our relationship meant to her until it was too late. That night, I rowed us out to the island as usual, but on the way back, she suddenly started talking marriage. I tried to change the subject, but she wasn't having it, so I told her the truth.
And? What happened then?
She didn't take it well. I suppose I can't really blame her for that. She got angry and started yelling, pushing me while we were still on the boat. I reached out to get her to sit down, but then... We were off balance, and I tumbled into her, so she fell. Ulyana couldn't swim.
So, why didn't you save her then?
Well, that's the thing, Lisa. I can't swim either. Never learned till this very day. Should I have dived in anyway, knowing I might have doomed us both? I reached into the depths, hoping she might find my hand, but nothing. When I finally went to pull my hand from the water, I was met with a pain unlike any I had ever felt before.
The scar?
Yes. I came back to shore, got into bed, and I never went near the lake again. No one really knew we'd been seeing each other, so it was like she just vanished. That is what happened. I never told a soul, but I swear it's been eating me alive every day since. So, what will you do now?
I'll find another way.
Pardon?
If you're telling the truth, I can't deny you have some responsibility for her fate, but you didn't murder her. And I can't justify killing you over an accident.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So I'll only take your hand.
What?
Would you prefer me to kill you?
What am I going to tell people?
You were trying to get something down from a shelf when it fell and struck your hand, crushing it terribly. Fortunately, I was in the store and able to perform a swift amputation, saving the rest of the limb. Does that work?
Couldn't it just be a finger?
I'm not the one who decided the price.
Is that fish bone? No, don't tell me.
As a doctor, I'll make sure you aren't conscious when it happens. When you awake, this will all seem like a bad dream. Minus a hand, of course.
Anything particular you're looking for? Have a nice evening.
Here's what I'd like you to do for me, Oleg.
You came. Good.
You're really going through with this, then?
How many times do I have to say it? There. That should be everything.
It reminds me of that night with Matilda.
It's not dissimilar. And just like then, I'll need something I care about. A gift from my late father. I've had it on my person since I received it. It should be a fine vessel for my spirit.
Spirit? Not soul?
Sweet Lisa, you don't truly think we have souls, do you? Our eternal souls, if they ever existed, are long forfeit. I speak of something more essential. That which makes us, whatever that is. The art of necromancy deals in exactly that. Something that squirms in our cold flesh, yet can be teased out and captured. That is what I speak of. I'll catch mine within this amulet, and from there, I'll carry this corpse into the sunrise, and I will watch it. Then, I'll retreat to the shade and resume full control over my body. Et voilà.
That sounds reasonable enough.
I merely applied the same principle as raising the dead, but to a spirit that has yet to pass on. All right.
Be careful, won't you?
Of course I... There. An extra protection rune, just for you.
Appreciated.
I'll see you on the other side.
If I interrupt her now, who knows what'll happen.
Oh!
I was so hoping you'd stop by.
Thank you, Roman.
I'll be right here if you need anything.
Oh, Lisa, you're back. Thank goodness. Although I'm rather embarrassed to have you see me in such a state.
Are you hurt?
Not exactly. It isn't painful, but I fear my legs are shattered. Serves me right for using porcelain instead of wood. If you wouldn't mind.
Here you go. You poor thing. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I'm trying not to be too self-pitying, but it's one thing after another with this body. So many things I used to take for granted. I only wanted to sell my dolls. Lisa, could you tell me something? Why did Elisa bring me back?
She felt guilty for causing your death, however accidentally.
She accidentally brought me to a party full of vampires?
I don't think she intended to let them kill you. Just drink your blood a bit. I know it's hard to believe, but it really was an accident. That's why she was so desperate to revive you.
I see. What is it?
Well, I was wondering, if Matilda had suffered such an injury before now, what would you have done?
Well, I suppose I would have cast new legs. I kept the original molds after all.
And where might those molds be now?
I'm not sure. I suppose whoever took on my belongings after my death, most likely my family. And in that case, there's a good chance my father discarded them.
We should try anyway. It can't hurt.
Yes. Perhaps Mother convinced him to hold on to them, or perhaps he hasn't had the time.
Did he dislike your craft so much?
Yes.
Oh.
In any case, I'll give you their address. Perhaps if you suggest you were a client who had purchased Matilda.
I'll do what I can. Let's see. Well, first, to whom should I address it? How should I introduce myself? I should offer my condolences here. Should I go into more detail about him? Now, about the doll. There. I just need to sign off. Perfect. Signed and sealed. Now, I just need to put it into a mailbox on the main street and hope for the best.